Hello, Crater Lake, here we go. This is a long chapter, which is why I couldn't read it yesterday. So we are on chapter 18, at last. So settle in, here we go. At last is the name of the chapter, by the way. That's not me just saying we're on chapter 18 at last. At last. We get back to my room and find Mac awake in... Oh, that's not a good start. We get back to my room and find Mac awake and looking a lot better. You go next, Adrian, I say. She smiles at me and flops onto the bed without saying anything. She puts on the mask and rolls over to face the wall. A minute later, her breathing gets slower and deeper. She's asleep. What happened? Kat says. I'm assuming it's not good news. I look at Trent. Before I tell you, I want everyone to stay calm. We need to keep quiet. We need to think carefully. Nobody panic. Spit it out, man, Trent says. What's the beef? Okay, well, the good news is that we found out why the bug eyes are draining the lake. The bad news is that it's so they can free the rest of the alien spores and take over the world. We figured it was something like that anyway, Max says. So it's good to have official confirmation. Yeah, Fang, what's the big deal? When the coach comes tomorrow, we can escape. We call the police sort it out, we get the credit. Trent tosses a handful of Star Mix into his mouth. The big deal, I say, and I'm thinking that if I say it really quickly, it won't sound as bad. Is that the coach driver is a bug eye, the coach is hidden under a murdery type barn by the lake, and if we don't stop the bugs by the sunrise, then it's probably going to be too late? Trent swallows the candies whole. It sounds like a dog choking on a chicken bone. So we're on our own, Catcher says. Well, not completely, I say. We've got each other? Yeah, says Mac. I trust you guys in my life over anyone else in the world. You're mental, Trent says as he stops choking and knocking back a bottle of water. I'd rather be stuck with a pack of velociraptors than you lot. So, what's the plan? Catcher asks. We have to stop the lake from being drained, I say. Mac, do you think there's any way that we can break down that dam? The thing with dams, he says, munching on what looks like whilst munching on what looks like bits of twig, is you don't need to break the whole thing down. You only need to make a crack in the right place. So it's doable. They put it up in a hurry. It's not structurally sound. It'll definitely be doable. But how are we going to get it done with so many bug eyes around? Catcher says. There's too many of them. I've got a couple of ideas, I say, but nothing substantial enough that I can feel sure it will work. I've rubbed my hands through my hair so hard, I think it may have left a bald patch. I'm so tired. It's like nothing I've ever felt before. I miss my mum. I miss Chet's. I feel like the fate of the human race depends on me, and my brain and body are just shutting down. We have some time, Lance, Kat says. When Adrian wakes up, you can sleep. After that, things will seem better. We'll think of something. I want to believe her, but it all seems too much. I came on this trip to protect Chet's, and I failed. I tried to stop everybody from turning into aliens, and I failed. I fail at everything, at school, at home, and in life. All I want to do is go to sleep, drift off to a happy place and forget about it all. We wouldn't have got this far without you, Kat says, like she's reading my mind. We'd have been toast on the first night, says Mac. Rest in peace, us. I'd have been fine, Trent says. Kat hits him in the face with a towel. Here, eat a banana, Mac says as he passes one over to me. 30 minutes, then it's your turn to sleep. And honestly, mate, that hour of sleep is going to make you feel unstoppable. And tomorrow, when we're home, we can all sleep for a week, Catcher says. They'll let us have a couple of days off school, right? Somehow, the others keep me awake until it's my turn to use the CPAP. I feel weird because I've never slept in front of anyone, but there have been loads of firsts on this trip, so I guess one more night won't hurt. As I put the mask over my nose and mouth, I worry for a second time that I'm too wired to sleep and that stress and craziness will keep me worrying. But I only worry for a second, and then I fall into a heavy black cloud where nothing matters except the steady beat of my heart. I wake to see Katya gazing down at me, those turquoise in her eyes twinkling like a mystical jewel from Asgard or something. How are you feeling? She asks. Better, I say. Part of me wants to let myself slide back into sleep, but I know I've got stuff to do. The others are counting on me. So I sit up and take off the mask. Where's that page of notes about water bears? I've had an idea. Geek robot overlord for the next turn? Trent dangles the oxygen mask in his hand. Just shut up and go to sleep if you don't want to help us, Adrian says. Don't come crying to me later, saying I didn't give you a fair chance then. Trent jumps on the bed and settles down for another nap. Here's the page you wanted, Lance, Catcher says, handing it to me. I think it looks like more of a hippo than a bear. What do you think about tardigrades, Mac? I say. They're tiny. They survive in conditions that nothing else can deal with. They can even come back from the dead. They can stand boiling hot, freezing cold, total dehydration, and being stuck in space. They eat all sorts of stuff, including bacteria, which is why they can be useful. Is it possible they could eat alien bacteria? I ask, looking at the creature in the diagram. I guess it's possible, Mac says. You could be onto something. But where can we get some? Catcher asks. We don't have a shop. We don't have access to any shops here. They often live in green or watery places. Another name for them is moss piglets. Do you remember just before Dale passed out? He said something about water bears, and he had green slime on him, I say. I reckon there's some tardigrades in the crater somewhere. That's what he was trying to find when he bugged out. The moss! Kat shouts, widening her eyes. There's moss around the edge of the crater. Chet slipped on some on the way in. Maybe the moss has been helping to keep the spores from escaping the crater, Aid says. We look at each other, and I'm sure they're all thinking what I'm thinking. This could be the key to stopping the aliens. It's an epic moment, full of possibility, full of hope, and then Trent farts in his sleep. All right, I say. I have a plan. It's all based on guesswork and assumptions, so there's a high chance it's going to go wrong. I'm in, says Catcher. Me too, says Adrian. Of course I'm in, Matt grins. And I hope it involves getting out of this room, because if Trent farts again, I might be sick. Right. I jump up and I'm feeling full of energy. Nothing makes you feel worse than running away and hiding from things. But when you make the decision to face them and fight them, even though it's scary, it's like the dark clouds blow away and everything comes clear. Empty your backpacks, except for water and a snack. We're going to forage for moss. What about Trent? Kat says. Should we wake him? Nah, he made his choice. Leave him here to sleep. 5 minutes later, we're leaving the building, through the back entrance and making our way into the trees. It feels good to be doing something useful, and with my best friends by my side. I only wish Chet was here too. So, we know there's some moss by the main gate, I say, but the main gate is risky. They could be watching it. Let's start at this side and work our way around the crater, Catcher says, skipping up the savagely steep slope as though she's on a flat ground. The rest of us follow as best as we can, though by the time we see the fence through the trees, we're practically climbing. A few meters before the fence, Kat suddenly stops and wobbles as though she's on the edge of something. Adrian is second in line and just about manages to grab Kat's backpack to keep her from falling. As Mac and I catch up, I see that where Kat and Aid are standing, there's a deep dig in the earth. There's a deep dip in the earth, with vertical sides laced with bits of dead root. It's like the ground has been ripped out. On the other side of the ditch, the fence rises ominously. It looks like someone's dug a trench, says Mac, to stop us from getting out. Adrian asks. Catcher stands with her hands on her hips, assessing the vertical sides of the trench. I can climb that, no problem. But I don't think you guys will be able to. No offense. As if anyone could ever be offended by something that Catcher says. Lucky we're not the ones trying to climb our way out then, I say. But if there was any moss there, it's long gone. So we follow the perimeter? Mac asks. Yeah, I say. Maybe the ditch is only across the back of the lake. We trudge on, keeping the ditch on our right. It's strange to see the world outside the fence going on exactly as it did before. Life in the crater is so disconnected. We might as well be on an alien planet. Do you remember when Chet's thought there were bandits in the woods? I say, and we all laugh until we remember that there are nastier things to worry about than bandits. So, I guess Digger hit Dale on the head to try and knock him out, says Aid. That's one way of making someone sleep. Or killing him, said Matt. And after everything he went through, they got him anyway. I can't see Kat's face because she's walking ahead of me, but I know she hates seeing people get hurt. Since we came across the ditch, it's like everyone's spirits are falling again. If we can find the moss and fix this, I say, then nothing Dale went through will be wasted. If he hadn't left the notes or scared the butts off us by smearing blood over the coach window, we would never have known what we were dealing with. I mean, we've worked some things out for ourselves, but a lot of it is because of a lunatic's scribbles. We won't let his sacrifice be in vain. Catcher sniffs. That was rousing, mate, Max says, and he pretends to break down in tears, especially the part about Dale's bloody smears. Aid starts giggling and whacks Mac on the arm. It was a good speech, Lance. You really should have run for head boy. I'd have voted for you, says Kat. Me too, and Chet's, Max says. Yeah, I don't think 3 votes would have won it for me though, but thanks anyway, guys. If more people had really got to know you, things could have been different, Adrian says. We've been in the same class for years, seen each other nearly every day, but all I knew about you was that your attendance was in the low 80s. You find it hard to concentrate, you don't seem to care about SATs or doing well, and sometimes you get into trouble. You've kept so much to yourself and allowed people to think the worst of you. It kind of suited me to be seen as the class idiot. I mean, nobody bothered asking questions, I say. And I realised that I've actually been quite a coward. I took what seemed like the easiest option, the least risky way of getting through. Maybe I was wrong. If people knew about your arm and about your other difficulties, then sure, there would be a few jerks like Trent who'd laugh and say horrid things, but most people would be nice about it, Aid says. You should have given us a chance. And I can't believe you didn't tell us, says Katja. We're your best friends, Lance. We know how awesome you are. Hey, we've kept things to ourselves as well, buddy. Mac whacks me gently on the back of my shoulder. Even the girls. There's a few seconds of quiet, no sound but our footsteps. Yeah, we did do that too, says Aid. And then Kat starts to giggle. You're thinking about the little table in the restaurant, aren't you? You're thinking about the little table in the restaurant, aren't you? Aid says. And the rose. Max splutters. I can barely hold in the laughter. Don't forget the candle. We all laugh so hard that we have to stop walking. There's so much going on, and things are looking pretty bad right now, as our only plan seems to have been dug up and thrown away. But it feels amazing to laugh like this. We give it a few minutes, holding our bellies and falling to the ground. Then Katja snorts, and Big Mac starts crying, and we all start all over again. We laugh until we ache, and I know that whatever happens, however it turns out, this is one of the best moments of my life. If I live to be an old man, I'm going to sit at a bus stop telling people this story, I say. It's never going to stop being funny. We'll all live in the same old people's home, says Kat. We can talk about it whilst we're doing our knitting. I'm an excellent knitter, Max says. It's one of my life skills my parents taught me. And we all start laughing again. After a water and wee break, we continue our walk around the crater of doom. The ditch doesn't let up, but we have to keep hoping. It's going to be by the road, I say. They won't have dug it up because they need it for getting in and out. That's where we'll find that moss. And we approach the only road through the crater we can see that's intact. There are guards, Max says. Oh, of course there are, I sigh. No way they're going to make this really hard thing we have to do easy, is it? How many? Mac crawls forward for a better look. Just 2. Crater Lake guys. They're making sure nobody gets out of the gate, I guess, Kat says. What are we going to do? They're only workers. Let's take them out. We'll grab some branches and hit them round the head. Max starts scraping the trees for suitable weapons. No. Too risky, I say. They're bigger than us, and we won't be able to sneak up on them. so we won't have the element of surprise. Besides, Aid says, remember that aliens have displayed wasp-like tendencies so far. If we attack one of the hive, they'll release a pheromone that alerts all the others. We're out in the open here. The pheromone will spread quickly and there'll be a swarm. We have to lure them away. And there's only one way I can think of. I roll my shoulders back and do some warm-up stretches. We're not used to being bait. We're not using you as bait, says Kat. It's too dangerous. It's the only way, I say. I'll draw them away and you guys get as much moss as you can. The problem with this plan is that you're too slow, Adrian says, standing up and tightening her ponytail. So I'm going to be the bait. I can't ask you to do that, I say. You're not asking. I'm volunteering. It's the option that has the greatest chance of success. I'm the fastest, so I'll go. No way. It's not happening. It's too dangerous. The thought of watching Aid run into the jaws of death is too awful for me to deal with. It should be me. It isn't your choice to make, she says. It's not your job to protect everyone all the time. You have to let us take responsibility for ourselves. I'm the fastest, so this makes the most sense. I can see that she's determined, and she's right. It does make the most sense. She's way faster than me, but still. I'll geek robot overlord you for it, I say. Did it ever cross your mind that you're not actually helping people by protecting them all the time, she asks. Take Chet's, for example. You saved him from the wasp, you got stung, he didn't, and are you scared of wasps now? No, I say. And is Chet still scared of wasps? Yeah, says Mac. Exactly. Sometimes a fear of something happening is worse because you've never experienced it before. Once it's happened to you and you've got through it, you realize it's not so bad. So you're saying that Chet might be less scared of wasps if I just let him get stung? It's a possibility, she says. Aid, you're blowing my mind, says Kat. Group vote then, Aid says. Everyone in favour of me luring the bug guys away from the gate, raise your hands. Kat sticks her hand up with an unhappy look on her face. Adrian glares at Big Mac and he puts his hand up too. I give him a look, but he shrugs. She's like a cheater, mate. You're more like a ferret or something. I win 3-1, she says. I can do this, trust me. I nod. Be careful. Run fast like Aid. Oh, run fast, Aid. Catcher hugs her. And she's gone, running noisily through the trees and onto the road in front of the two bug eyes, where she fake trips and falls to the ground. She looks up and pretends to be surprised when she sees the guards. It's hard to tell what the guards are thinking at this point, because their eyes are just bottomless dark and their faces expressionless. But it only takes a couple of breaths for them to launch into action. They move towards Aid. She lets them come for a few steps, then she jumps up and darts into the trees on the other side of the road without looking back. Respect, Max sighs, his eyes all big and gooey. Let's move, I say, and we make for the gate. There's moss, lots of it, says Catcher. And as we get close, we pull our bags off our backs and start unzipping them as we run. There's no way of knowing how long we'll have before the guards come back, or are replaced by some other bug guys. We reach the mounds of moss, scrape it up with our hands, and cram it into our backpacks. It's only when we've taken nearly all of it that I look up and notice the gates open. We are now on chapter 19, and it is called A Chance to Escape. So I will hopefully read this one, and it should be below the video. Let's hope that I keep my promise this time. And I will see you guys soon. See ya.